with security, and you want to be sure that, people are not discouraged from importing things through our borders, through our ports. We recall that only recently you put a ban on land importation of cars. And one of the accusations against the Nigerian customs and our ports, usage of our ports, is that, first of all, demurrage is quite high. And then, two, we don't do things efficiently as neighboring borders, neighboring ports around us. So when you say 100% examination, are you insinuating that every single container that comes through the Nigerian ports will be examined?
Mokpe, if you consider the fragile situation in some parts of the country, you look at the insurgency, you look at cases of armed robbery, kidnapping and all that, and communal clashes, I think it would be dangerous to sacrifice our national security on the altar of trade facilitation. Yes, we want to facilitate trade, but in the face of epileptic scanners and inadequate technology to help us do our job more efficiently and timeously, we have no choice but to insist that we conduct 100% examination.
Well, definitely 100% examination did not happen before now. Are you also considering the possibility that perhaps a container or two might have slipped through with a consignment like this and nobody is aware?
Well, I don't want to speculate. I don't want to imagine that this has happened. But the fact that this happened and has been intercepted suggests that our men have been on the look and possibly would have intercepted anyone that have slipped.
How is that possible?
Well, we have, as I told you, we have layers of checks. We have the Customs Intelligence Unit. We have the compliance team on the road. I mean, we just believe that when everybody is committed to their own part of the job, such things are most likely to be intercepted.
You talked about how, it's human beings that we're dealing with in many instances and how people are human and these kinds of things can happen. The people will need reassurance. We're talking about 661 pump action guns, which are very dangerous.
Very dangerous.
They nearly slip through the Nigerian Ports Authority under the watchful eyes of the customs. We're simply asking, how do you think that, how do we know that this was just not an accidental discovery and that, many more have not slipped through?
Well, with human beings, you never can tell, but I can assure you that our anti-smuggling operations have been resharpened. Following this discovery, the Comptroller General have directed raid alerts on all our patrol teams to be on the lookout. And then, of course, the intelligent operatives have been redeployed to some of these spots, terminals, borders, and all that to ensure that the right thing is done. Most importantly, I think importers, clearing agents should comply, should imbibe the culture of compliance. There's no need bringing something that you know is dangerous, that you know is harmful to the nation, and declaring it as steel doors or merchandise goods. People should comply, and officers should also do their job. That's what the Comptroller General is saying. Officers must do their job, and anybody that is caught, as in this case, there will be grave consequences.
What is the relationship? I mean, I'm sure there's an international dimension to this. We understand that the guns were manufactured in China, but that this container came in through Turkey. So what is the relationship with the Nigerian customs and the custom agencies of those countries?
When it comes to international trade, of course, national interests sometimes supersede. Of course, we are all members of the WCO, World Customs Organization. We share information when there are issues like that. Nigeria Customs Service could, when there is need, contact customs of the other side to be able to give us some form of information as to how these things were eventually shipped to Nigeria. But the whole thing was done in such a way to deceive. It came from, it was manufactured in China, manifested as if this was coming from Turkey. You know, when they want to do this thing, they craft it in such a way to deceive customs, to deceive the operatives. But then, as I said, we have people who are daily monitoring these containers, monitoring activities at our port, and giving relevant information to teams outside the port to ensure that these things don't go unnoticed.
So the tip-off you received, was it from Nigerian authorities or was it from inside sources? Or did it come from outside? Because oftentimes when the Nigerian customs, make a discovery like this, in many instances, especially when it has to do with the NDLEA, for instance, they usually will have gotten a tip-off from Interpol. Do you have such, interagency collaboration?
Yeah, of course we do. But in this case, we have this tip-off came up from within our operatives in the system. And of course, I don't need to speak more on how we are able to get that and who gave us that.
I'm not going to expect you to, but there are definitely questions. There are questions, legitimate questions that people will be asking us, where the tip-off came from. Have you, has the Nigerian Customs written to the Customs Service in perhaps Turkey to find out, how this too slipped through their radar?
This was just discovered on Friday. On Monday, Comptroller General was there, briefed the press. A number of arrests have been made. Preliminary investigation is still going on. And of course, if there's need to reach that level, well, of course, why not?
You don't think that it will definitely get to that level?
What I'm saying is that those in charge of investigation will get to that level. Because they are handling it. Investigations will reveal, comments that will come, statements that have been made will be studied, documents will be studied, and appropriate actions will be taken.
So where are we going to, move on to from here? Usually what happens to goods like this when they are intercepted?
Of course, this is a very dangerous weapon. Normally we hand them over to the police or DSS for further investigation and prosecution. It falls under their purview. So just like when they arrest small goods, they hand over to us. When we arrest, we finish our preliminary investigation, hand over the case to them with the case file and the suspects.
Well, at this point, we'll take a break now. When we return from this break, we'll discuss a bit more on, the suspects themselves, whether they're people who have been in business for a while, what sort of record do they have? Do you keep track of people who import things like this? We'll do that when we return from this break. Do join us again.